this morning as I open up my eyes. Something just feels right.
Sinners came from a very personal place, man. Like when I was finishing up my last film, Wakanda Forever, we spent a little bit of time in Byron, Georgia, which is like a small city a few hours outside of Atlanta. But while I was there, I saw a cotton plantation. I'd never seen the plant before in person, and that experience made me think of my uncle, who was from Mississippi, grew up in his early times as a sharecropper and eventually fled the state, came to California. We had a very close relationship. And he passed away in 2015 as I was finishing up my second feature film, Creed. I never got to see that movie, and I never really properly mourned that loss. And one of the things that he and I would do together, listen to blues music. I was trying to figure out what my next movie was gonna be. And I was in the kitchen with my wife and producer, business partner, Zenzi, and a Howlin' Wolf song came on called Wang Dang Doodle, which is a crazy song about all these dangerous characters in the South that get together and decide to throw a party. The movie just came to me. It kind of all coalesced in that moment. And I told Zenzi, I was like, I think I got my next idea for a movie. And more than anything, I found it was an opportunity for me to write a love letter to cinema, to all of the things that I love about going to the movies and watching movies with an audience. That feeling that drove me to want to become a filmmaker. I'm maximizing all the relationships that I formed with all of the folks that helped me make those movies. And I'm kind of just like cashing it in, on this picture. And at the same time, it's the first film that I've made, since I kind of know who I am. I'm a dad, a husband, a business owner. In many ways, it's the most important movie I've ever made, and it's straight from me to audiences.
I think Ryan really understands the responsibility he has as a filmmaker. There's not a lot of people who look like him that are given space at this level on this platform to tell stories. This story is closest to him because I think parts of Smoke, parts of Stack, parts of Sammy are him. He just revels in the memories that he has with his big cousins. Those are the men who formulated his ideas about relationships, about taking care of family, and about responsibility and about manhood. In those formative years, those are stories and memories he's just latched onto.
Zenzi, she's always the first person to read anything that I make. So when I'm making things, it's really for an audience of one. So I'm trying to see if she buys it, If she does, generally I know I got something.
My dad was born in 1931 in Chicago by parents who were from Mississippi, so not too far from the Mississippi Delta. So I felt like this story, in ways, just brought me closer to a part of my history that I didn't yet know. The discovery of that place and the people there, it just filled my imagination with what my grandparents might have been. And I imagine that will be the same for so many people who are products of the Great Migration and who have ancestry and lineage from that place that, even through the circumstances of the people at that time, still found joy and love and community.
Sinners came together astonishingly fast. It was about Halloween last year. Ryan had dinner with all of us and he told us, I think I want to make Sinners next. And there was a very brief window of time due to all of us, having windows of opportunity. And it would have meant that Ryan would have to turn in the script to us in 2 months. And Ryan's a phenomenal screenwriter, but writing a whole movie in 2 months is pretty crazy. 2 months later, I got a script in my inbox and it was around Christmas time. I read it immediately, and the thought that I had was, wow, this is the best Christmas present anyone will ever send me.
My reaction when I first read the script was, I can't believe he turned it in on time. It was an incredible homework assignment he put on himself, and then to us to help execute on that vision.
Ryan is a filmmaker who is drawn by authenticity in a lot of what he does, trying to do right by the characters in the stories, whether it's seeking consultants for their insight or really trying to find a lived-in experience we can put to screen. This film is actually what feels like the culmination of all those movies we've made. Everything we've learned over the past decade or so, all the collaborators we've worked with, all the people we've built great relationships with, it was all about taking all of that and putting it all on the table when it comes to this film, Sinners.
This is me at my most exposed artistically. this is me at a point as a filmmaker where I most know who I am as a person. It's the first film I made where I felt like I was fully formed as a human being, so to speak, in terms of identity. And I needed the best people for this.
Love you. Love you too. Be careful. I will.
And this unique role was a role that I thought only Michael could do. So when I brought it to him, it was an opportunity for us to kind of jump off this creative cliff together with no safety net.
I hit him up, try to pitch a project to him. He passed on that one and pitched me this one. I was like, all right, cool, let's do it.
I mean, it wasn't exactly like that.
No, it wasn't like that, no. Yeah. But say, like, you know, when Cool calls you, you pick up the phone. You know what I'm saying? And you really pay attention to what he's got to say. And, you know, I heard the pitch and I was like, oh man, this is like different. And I was a little nervous at first.
Once I shared it with Mike, you know, and he was in, it kind of changed the game a little bit, right? Because now we have somebody who's a bona fide movie star. Now he's gonna be doing something we haven't ever seen before.
I mean, we're constantly always trying to grow, you know, from project to project, you know, throughout our lives and also throughout our professional career. You know, when you're working with your friends, you never want to let them down for anything. He picks up the phone and calls and thinks about you for a certain, you know, project, you know, that's really, really personal to him, that means a lot to him, and he trusts you to deliver the message, to, you know, be a part of that process. You take it seriously, and it means a lot, so.
We wouldn't have met each other if we didn't love the work, you know, and as a result, we was able to build a bond that I think enables us to put some great stories in front of audiences.
I think what makes Michael and Ryan's collaboration so successful is trust, openness. It's not being afraid to be honest with each other, that honesty and that communication, and the accepting of it on both sides. If Michael feels a certain way about something, and even if Ryan didn't think of that idea originally, he'll want to see it, he'll let them go. Through the years, you know, obviously that trust has grown, and I've never seen both of them so locked in.
You boys twins?
Nah, we cousins.
It was almost like a heist movie, and how quickly we had to find people we could trust to pull off this impossible thing. We got to going to calling all of our old collaborators.
Ryan called me and I couldn't believe my ears because he's telling me this story about a 1930s film where Michael B. Jordan is gonna play his own twin, two characters.
He calls me, he's got this project, he's like, it's vampires, and he's like, it's set in Mississippi in 1932, and I was like, yes.
When I read it, I texted him and I was like, this is amazing. I couldn't put it down, but anytime I have the opportunity to work with him, I'm excited about it.
And it was great because the first thing that they did was call each other. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so it's an incredible shorthand between those artists and an excitement to do something that they hadn't done before.
Getting a call like that, it's not only a gift, it's more like a mission to tell the story and to bring people into awareness of people in the South who made something out of nothing, who were disenfranchised, but created the blues, created beautiful music that has influenced generations and all kinds of genres.
Blues music has a very important relationship with global pop culture, with American pop culture. And with Black culture specifically, because it came out of that culture. And in this time, it's a lot of shame and pain and discomfort associated with the time. But somehow, everything that we think of today as cool and everything that we think of as being timeless and specifically American. And so I was very interested in that irony of people dealing with such intense oppression and such intense difficulty of life, but still somehow maintaining the zest for life and the affirmation of their humanity and maintaining their agency. My grandmother, my father-in-law, my uncle, you know, they were products of this place. And they were some of the most amazing people that I know, you know, and so I wanted to explore that question.
We family, ain't that right? I know it sounds crazy, but after we kill y'all, we gonna have heaven right here on earth.
If blues is the backbone for popular music globally, the scary story is the backbone for all storytelling. My earliest memories are of movies and the power of them are sitting in a room full of strangers, dark, and being absolutely terrified by something that's happening on the screen. All of my favorite filmmakers, they left a dent on in that genre somehow. I couldn't wait to do one day. You know, I'm so happy to be doing it now.
I guess that Chicago win blew your black ass back down now, huh? Good boy.
This my little cousin, Preacher Boy Sammy. Happens to be the finest blues player in all the Delta.
This is a full-blown ensemble cast with a mixture of legendary actors with storied careers and newcomers as well. You know, with Sammy, we had to do a global search because what we were looking for was really challenging. We needed somebody who would have been an amazing actor, could sing beautifully, could play guitar, and Ryan always knew he wanted a young-looking man who had a voice that was generations older than him.
I don't need to practice none of this. I know these old church tunes like the back of my hand.
We looked all over the world. We had tapes from different countries, different continents. And I'll never forget, Ryan, Zinzi, and I looked at the video all together, and Miles had recorded it in his basement, I think. It was poorly lit. You couldn't quite see too much. But when you heard his voice, we knew that that was our man. He didn't know how to play guitar, but then he taught himself how to play guitar by the time we started shooting, and it was incredible.
I definitely dove into in this project, studying artists like, Muddy Waters, Buddy Guy, and Sun House, learning, their style and how they told stories through song.
Traveling, I don't know where the world I'm in.
This movie sometimes feels deceptively simple. It all takes place in one day. Most of it takes place in one location. But it is a challenging film. We got twin VFX actors. We got smoke, fire, stunts, all sorts of on-location things. It was a massive, massive undertaking. And a lot of it is if Ryan Coogler's calling you, you find a way to make it work. It is a real credit to everyone who had to really pull off a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time, and they did it beautifully.
There's a lot of research put into the film, making sure that we're treating everything with as much care as possible. It's not just one person sitting in a room just trying to do their own thing. No, this is a family project. We're bringing in the best people in the world to kind of collaborate and make this happen.
I feel so much joy when I walk onto a beautiful set as a cinematographer. And on this one, Hannah just knocked it out of the park as far as building a whole new world that was created from scratch, but also has so much historical meaning to people of color and my ancestors as well.
These two gonna be playing down at the old sawmill. You know, the one right on the riverbank, right outside Clarksdale.
So juke joints were a place where people would come. They'd often be in people's houses or old abandoned establishments, and after a long day of work, they would come and get a cold drink and dance and socialize and be in community. So the big thing here is the dichotomy, the contrast, and the transformation, which our lead character goes through a transformation throughout to the end of the film. So this is sort of signifying that, and it plays into our color story, red, white, and blue, because this is sort of a place where people saw hedonism and drinking, prohibition was going on, dance, which was sometimes seen as a little bit paganistic.
It was one of the first sets that I walked onto, and I was like, oh, wow, this is time travel. I'm actually in a different era completely.
It's so wonderful as an actor to be able to step into that world that's been created for you. Every single little thing, every little detail is so on point and so thought out. I had moments where I could go to set on days I wasn't working, and those were the days I feel like I really picked up on that detail.
Once I got here and I got to see the set, the cars, the locations, the different places, to see all of that stuff come together. I feel like it's one thing to have an idea, and it's another thing to be able to execute it.
What I'm trying to get to in my work in general is, how do I turn emotion into a design? Can I take joy, fear, or pain, or struggle and make it a design? Bringing in the ancestors, bringing in the spirituality of the people at the time. And I kind of started looking at all the characters in that way. Like, what would they have been? But you can't forget, there's vampires in it.
You have so much of an emotional response when you walk onto these sets and when you see the costumes that Ruth makes. You, as a filmmaker, if you're not emotional, it's not going to be translated into the images that you make.
We have this color palette that was given to us from Ryan. It has to do with that this is an American story. So we wanted to bring in red, white, and blue, starting with smoke and stack in red, and smoke in blue. But beyond that, when you look at clothing from this time and you see a lot of workwear, people wearing blue overalls, blue coveralls, blues, prominent. And then, they weren't manufacturing clothes in so many colors either. So you did get primaries, and to see this palette of red, white, and blue. I think that as we come together, the production designer, the cinematographer, the director, the costume designer, it's a conversation. It's like a ball of fire that swirls around the room. We're making movies, honey. and you start seeing how Hannah is interpreted, the color red. It could be the car, it could be the patina in the juke joint, it could be the way that blue resonates in a setting like Annie's shop. So I then start experimenting with ideas of red and blue. It starts to feel like a Southern American story.
Executive at Warner Brothers, who we worked with, we love, Jesse Ironman. You know, he called me and was like, hey man, have you thought about a large format for this movie? It unlocked something in me, and I was like, oh yeah, it has to be. You know, like these characters are larger than life. You know, we're gonna show a generation of Americans that are often overlooked, that people feel uncomfortable talking about, people don't wanna spend time with. But to me, these people from this era are giants. You know, so I was like, oh, it has to be shot on the most epic format.
You know, he's always thinking about the audience, he's always thinking about his characters, and he's always thinking about the emotional quality of the scene. And I'm an emotional shooter, so that works for me too. If I don't feel it when I'm shooting it, I know that the audience isn't gonna feel it. And so shooting it on IMAX makes it even that more elegant and confident. There's nothing like it.
Shooting with an IMAX camera is tough. They're very heavy. They make a lot of noise. When you're running an IMAX camera, the mechanism of the 15 perf, it's almost like you're having a little mini lawnmower on set.
My character's entrance scene was shot on IMAX. The sound actually helped me click right into the world because there was nothing more magical about being in a film in the 30s, filmed with a camera, making so much noise.
When that film camera is rolling, that IMAX camera is rolling, people are really on point. They really try their hardest every take to get everything exactly right because film is precious.
Shooting in Louisiana was a beautiful experience, but we were definitely out in the elements at the mercy of thunderstorms and rain and mud, different things that come with shooting out in nature. The weather destroyed us and our schedule, so we were required to just be nimble and flexible to adapt to the challenges that came our way. So I would have to talk through what's up next because we often had to pivot from what we thought our plan was and make sure that we were on the same page of what to expect. It was definitely all hands on deck.
I'm Ludwig Göransson.
I'm Serena.
I'm Seb Ohanian, and you're with us live tonight as we shoot one of the craziest scenes you will ever see on camera.
The night that we shot the Rocky Road scene with our vampires, it had rained earlier in the day and it had muddied our entire set. We were all worried we might not be able to do what we needed to do because we had dancers who needed to dance in this mud and musicians who had to play instruments, and all of our actors. I think it was the first day that our entire cast was on set together.
Well, in the merry month of May, from me home I started, left the girls of June were nearly broken-hearted, salute to Father dear.
Okay, yeah, it was a Saturday night. The air is getting hot, everyone's kind of in the mood, and we were going to be working through the night. And it was just amazing, just a massive production. They were going to shoot it in an amazing way. Just everything about it just felt tribal. So by that point, you're really kind of thinking, this is transcending. It's like, I feel like I'm in a sub-reality. But that's the amazing thing about this job. Sometimes you get that feeling. Every now and then you get to this amazing place with your work and the collaborative effort that's required to get there, and when it comes off, it's a drug.
These scenes they're heavy, and these days of shooting were long. I've waited a long time to be this moved by a role, and this character is one that challenged me in ways I don't know that I've been challenged before and will never forget.
I feel extremely proud. I also feel a couple of years older because it was intense.
And I never would imagine we had all this original music, but you got a lot of great stuff we're really excited about. I know it's been a lot, because y'all talented.
I think Ryan has that magic with people where he can see and push people further than what they knew they could be. I'm talking about myself now because that's how I feel like with every project that I do with Ryan. I know I can do it and I know the way to do it, but it's also he helps me finding these new ways and inspiring me to find these new ways.
Hey boss, I got two out there. I told them we closed, but they offered a couple $100. That okay with you?
That don't bother me none.
We were really lucky to have legendary artist Buddy Guy in the movie, as he plays a very special character for one very unexpected scene. And you know, Buddy Guy famously has told the story that when he was coming up, he was kind of a young sharecropper turned blues musician himself, and he was told by the legend of his time, Muddy Waters, that you got to keep the blues alive. And seeing that we ended up getting to have Buddy in our movie doing exactly that on the screen was in a lot of ways bringing that wish to fruition.
That was around the time when we realized like we really might have something special, man. You know, that at least like people who know the music, you know, to see Buddy Guy in a movie is pretty crazy. So I'm so proud of him. He did such a great job for us.
Ready and action. Usual. Make it a double.
Shooting a movie is really tough. They're super long days, super late at night sometimes. It requires a lot of endurance. And Buddy is, you know, he's a man who's, I think he's 88 years old. And I remember being a little bit concerned, like this is gonna be a lot to ask of someone like him. But of course, Buddy, that's all he does. He's up all night performing concerts for crowds, sold out shows. So he was totally fine. When we wrapped that day of filming, it was a super long day. Of course, all of us were tired, ready to go home.
Well, I'm ready to roll now.
Out of nowhere, Buddy starts playing an impromptu blues concert, and everyone immediately put their gear down, and we just started rocking out and just enjoying this incredible opportunity to see Buddy go at it. So even after a whole day of filming, he had it still in him, and we're so grateful to him.
This is a full meal of a movie, you know. It's very balanced. It has all the elements that I love when I'm both watching a movie and when I'm making a film. We're able to do some incredible stunt sequences. The final shootout of the film was just a really great opportunity for everybody. And I work with Andy Gills, I'm my stunt coordinator for the past 3 movies. It was very important for us for, you know, in our film, you know, it's the early 30s, 1932, for it to feel like now, like it was happening right in front of you.
Hey, Andy, can I get a rehearsal? Yep. Okay, guys, let me see you. Let's get in your car. We'll do a full rehearsal. And bang! And bang!
We were able to do some really incredible practical effects when it came to the shootout. Riddling that, you know, the old Model T, we used the technology that was recently developed for our prop guns to make it safer for the actors. There's no projectile, you know, out of the front of the gun, but it still ejects the shell casings and the gas, you know, that pumps to make it look live, you know, giving the actor a real recoil feel and you know, while maintaining everybody's safety. You know, we were really excited to be one of the first few films to you know, to use that technology.
3, 2, 1.
We were able to do some old school techniques, specifically remix flying, putting Jack in his double on wires.
3, 2, 1, action.
We had a robust visual effects department too that kind of could join hands with stunts, you know, join hands with special effects makeup and really tell the story in a way that feels like it's happening right in front of you. The film was, you know, it was old school meets new school, you know, in such a really cool way.
Somebody take me.
The surreal montage was one of those scenes that I could not wait to get to from the moment I read it.
The surreal montage, I think, is very much Ryan because it has so much meaning. Only a director like that can explain to you what they're trying to execute.
So this is the window that allowed for me to bring in so many different generations and eras and cultures of dance. It hands down really was an opportunity to pay respect, honor, and put on display our ancestors, the different music, movement, cultures that have come from generations ago, and not only tie it into the era that the film takes place in, but tie it to our current era where audiences will be watching.
We actually started with the outside shot under the stars and seeing everyone dancing in the middle of a swamp in the middle of the night in Louisiana with the smoke and the fire and the traditional garb. I can't even describe it, and I kind of don't want to because it feels so precious to me.
It's surreal just to hear how everything came together and for it to be this magnitude.
Everybody's just having a good time because, like, I think they realize that there's a common thread that unites us all. Even like in the reality of the performing of it, everybody realizes that there's something really cool happening here.
To pull this off, it was genuinely one of the hardest producing challenges I've ever had. We needed to shoot a oneer while we were shooting IMAX, and IMAX film is so thick that it can't fit into a reel like more than a minute or two of time. So that to solve that, we had to find ways to just cleverly hide cuts. Camera would move past the wall, we would cut there for momentarily.
We had a lot of talks about what that was going to be and how we would execute it in a limited amount of time with so many characters.
Then we had to have a song that would be ready by the time we're shooting. Usually Ludwig is writing these songs after the movie's been shot. So he's working around the clock with Serena to get this song just right. The scene calls for extras who will be dressed in costumes spanning centuries of time. The scene calls for choreography, that everyone's got to hit their marks just right. And we would spend our weekends, we would actually come together, everyone's wearing their sweats and gym clothes, and we would just go over and over through the scene, and someone is keeping clock, and it almost became like a choreographed dance.
I think until you shoot something like that, you don't know how it's going to cut together. One little beat that's off could throw the whole sequence off.
I haven't been on any set where we filmed to the actual music that was going to be in the movie. You know, so the fact that I knew that this is a song that's gonna go on over here in this moment. Okay, when I'm doing X, Y, and Z, this is what we're gonna be listening to, and really being in the moment, I think that helped out tremendously, and I want people to feel that in their bones too.
It was like rehearsing a play, but seeing these ancestors and future ancestors and hearing the conversation in the rooms, everything felt very cyclical. Everything felt very poetic, actually.
It was unreal seeing 16th century West African dancers, classical Chinese from the Peking theater dancers, some West Coast gangsters, 30s juke joint dressed people looking at someone who looks like they come out of a T.I. video or something. To see so many things in one room has been quite satisfying.
As they say, the roof is literally on fire because this party is so amazing. Well, to get that shot, our VFX supervisor, Michael Ralla, insisted to pull it off the right way, we had to actually burn the roof.
So we're here, last day of principal photography. If you look up to the roof, you'll see that our colleagues from the special effects department have prepared a huge practical burn element that we're setting on fire today.
You got it? Yeah, that's it. Tilt up a bit more. Like that? Yes.
So naturally, that was the very last thing we shot on the very last day of the movie. And we spent a lot of time making it safe and had to ensure that everyone was in the right place in the right time and give it enough time for it to clear out.
That was the grand finale of the shoot, and everyone thought, this is crazy. But we did light up the mill at the very end, and it was such a great moment that was really enjoyable for everyone because it truly marked the end of principal photography.
It was kind of cathartic, actually, to finish the movie with burning our hero set.
This is a group effort. This is a team effort. We need everybody in this room to make this movie come to life, you know? Yeah, I'm just proud of all of us. I'm really proud of all of us, and I can't wait to see this thing on the big screen.
It was a long and hard shoot, as they all are. We wrapped the movie in the middle of the night, and everyone was, of course, tired. We had some great speeches, and everyone's feeling good. And then we rolled out some TVs.
When we were able to show the cast and crew just a snippet of the footage, it was so exciting. We all did this together, and we got a moment to just celebrate the work that we had put in.
I had never done anything like that myself before, like on rap, show some footage. The biggest gift for me was I got to watch them watch it. And also I hadn't seen it because we were trying to make an incredibly difficult day. But it was incredible, man. And we only could have done that because we've been working together forever.
We're gonna have a premiere for this movie. We're gonna have lots of screenings. We're gonna open the movie around the world. But I don't know if anything is gonna ever top the experience of watching just 15 minutes of scenes with the cast and crew who just put all of their energy into making this thing. Be able to see it right then genuinely is one of the best moments of my career thus far.
This moment, this thing that we created together was so special that we all wanted to hold on to it for as long as we could. But that night was So many things: relief, joy, jubilation, exhaustion.
Yeah, it was awesome. Hey, for real, I thank all y'all, man, like, for helping me make my dreams come true. So I appreciate y'all and everything that y'all gave to the movie. It's all over the film. That's just a taste of it, you know what I'm saying? But it's there, and I really, really, really appreciate y'all, for real. Thank you.
Appreciate it. It was so satisfying, man. I was so happy for Ryan and proud of him. An original thing that he thought about that's inspired by his family and his experiences and his imagination, to see it work the way it works, the way people of color are photographed in this. Shot on 65mm IMAX cameras. I don't think there's a movie that is gonna look like this with people of color. I don't think we've had the combination of resources that this movie has, as far as just personnel, equipment, technology, budget. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
We built a community and family on set, and we are incredibly blessed to have people we can look to say that we trust, and we're in it together. We want this to be something that we can all be proud of together.
I love this work, you know, so it's awesome to have people to do it with who I respect as artists and as professionals, but I also get to know them as human beings, and I grow to love them.